you need to stop attaching yourself to your expectations, and you need to start attaching yourself to your standards. So I remember this quite vividly. I was in my car, driving, blasting music, grabbing the wheel, going like, yeah, And it was because I had just hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. It was late October of 2020. It was a culmination of years of recording videos, editing them, hours and hours and hours, where I didn't know whether this was going to work out or not, but I had that strong belief, and I told myself, if I continue to show up, something's going to happen eventually, as long as I'm making progress towards that thing. And finally I did, 10,000 subscribers. The feeling was great. I mean, it was like a huge rush of happiness, and I rode that wave for maybe about a few days until it crashed down. A lot of you guys know the concept of the hedonic treadmill. Hedonic treadmill is when your baseline level of happiness gets conditioned to whatever your routine starts to become. So if you are used to getting, let's say, like 10,000 views per video, like I was at one point a little bit later past October 2020, then seeing the number of views be around like 10,000, it eventually does nothing for you. It doesn't make you more happy. You'd have to reach the next level, the next tier of views. So let's say 20 to 50,000. Whenever that happened, that gave me happiness. But then when I reached that, the goalposts move again. It's like moving the goalposts. But that's not even what I want to talk about, although that's a good lesson to have. And it is going to be kind of tied to this topic because it was an expectation that I set. I said, once I hit 10,000 subscribers, then I'll be on top of the world forever. Once I hit 100,000 views per video, I'm still kind of stuck in this expectation some days where I'm thinking if I hit 100K views per video on my main channel, that's when I can stop worrying. That's when I've really made it. And for a long time, that expectation was, the biggest expectation was, I'm hitting 1 million subscribers within the next year. And this, I believe, was in 2022 or 2021. I made a post about it, and I'm hoping I can find it on my main channel, a community post where I said, I'm reaching 1 million subscribers this year. I'm still at 700,000 subscribers on my main channel, 300,000 off. And I thought with the way things were going, because I was averaging like 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers per day, if this pace kept up, then I could absolutely hit 1 million subscribers by the end of, I think it was 2022. And so I set that expectation, and I was really tied to it until it got to the end of the year. By the end of the year, I started to realize I'm probably not going to hit 1 million subscribers. And it kind of deterred me. I had attached myself so deeply to this future that had to happen, that if I don't get there, then I must be considered a failure. Because that was the expectation I put on myself. I had this formula in my head of, if this thing happens, then you can be happy. If it doesn't, then you failed, you're going to be miserable. And expectations are set when you clearly define how much of something you want by a certain period of time. That's an expectation. So I reflected on that experience, and I realized, I used to do this so much throughout my life, set expectations for how much money I want to be making by a certain point, how many views I want to have by a certain point, what I want my life to look like in every single sense of life goals. And every time I didn't hit them, well, it would do nothing but disappoint me and further deter me from becoming a better person and progressing and growing. Finally, life went on enough times, and I recognized this pattern enough times to realize, like, setting expectations, while there is some utility in that, while there is utility in setting a huge goal, a very lofty goal that, it seems damn near impossible to hit, there's utility in that because you are going to reach a much farther path. You're going to get more gains out of that than you'd ever expect than if you set like a very minor goal because you don't want to be let down or disappointed. But if you get too attached to that expectation and you don't reach it, all it's going to do is reinforce an identity that you can't do the things that you say you want to do. We talked about that in the last video on this channel, how if you condition yourself through your actions and you don't do what you actually say you're going to do, then you're reinforcing the identity that is most closely associated with I'm a failure and I can't do anything right and I can't have enough respect and trust for myself to actually follow through on things because of those expectations. Now here's where we start to change things. The standards. Unlike expectations, which require you to reach something clearly defined by a certain period of time, standards are just who you are and what you will do on a daily basis. It's a fancier way of saying the process versus the result, to be honest. So your standards are your process of doing things. I have a standard for myself that I will work out 4 times, 5 times a week. But I don't have an expectation that I should be a certain weight or have a certain arm length size, a bicep size by a certain period of time. That's the difference between the standard I have and the expectation I want from that standard. Just focusing on the standards, if I show up to work out 4 times a week, then I've held myself to my standard. I also have a standard for YouTube right now, which is I want to post on this channel once a week. I have absolutely zero expectations attached to this channel. I don't care how quickly it grows. I don't care how much money I make off of it. I don't care how many views I get per video. My standard for myself is that I'm going to show up once a week to record these videos and upload them. That way, I'm reinforcing the identity that is more closely associated with someone who is confident and who respects themselves and who trusts that they can get the shit they need to do done. And really, in most cases, that's the only type of identity you need to eventually get the thing you used to have expectations for. You might not get it in the exact amount of time you thought you would have, but you will eventually get there if you hold yourself to a high enough standard and be that standard every single day or however many times per week or month that you need to be in order to be considered holding yourself to that standard. So I have no expectation anymore for when I'm going to hit 1 million subscribers on my main channel. I don't know when it's going to happen because I found it's actually kind of useless to be focusing on, I got to get, like, how do I get the most subscribers possible per video? It doesn't matter. It's going to force me to chase the wrong things. If I'm chasing the amount of subscribers or how much money I could possibly be making, then I'm only going to be thinking about how do I make videos that produce the most amount of subscribers per view or money per view. And if I do that, then I'm not going to be creating the most fulfilling and impactful videos that I can. And so now the standard for myself, which is also on my main channel, is I'm going to post 1 video per week. I'm going to make quality content. I'm going to be writing these long scripts every single week, no matter what. Some weeks I might not be able to do it in time, and that's okay because again, I haven't set any like real strict expectations on myself to have a certain amount of, views per month or anything. So if I do miss a week, not a big deal. But the standard is there. The standard I've set for myself is that showing up once a week, I have the grace to, forgive myself if I have something else come up and I can't do it that week. But that's the standard. And through that standard, I'm going to keep showing up once per week on YouTube, on this channel, and on my other channel. And I know that I'm trying to get better each video and learn and see what works and see what doesn't work, and then improve upon those things and keep iterating. Well, eventually I'm going to get to 1 million subscribers. And that's what's been happening. I grow 50 to a few hundred subscribers per day. And I can't predict the future. I can't control what my future is going to look like. I can to an extent. And the only extent to which I can is based on the standards I set for myself. If I keep showing up once per week, then I can control that my YouTube channel will be bigger in the future. But I can't predict the future to a T. So this is why I really don't like to set expectations for how something should go in the future, and instead just be the person who does the work every day to eventually get to the expectation that I no longer attach to so heavily. Other examples that you could use in your life. Let's say you want to get married one day and you set the expectation, I need to get married by 25. And you're doing all this work on yourself and you're going on dating apps and you're going on a bunch of dates and you just haven't found anybody you've really clicked with. And then you get to 25, you're still not married. Think of the type of mental impact that's going to have on you. Is it really that useful? Is it as useful as instead saying, I'm going to be the type of person that would attract a high quality, significant other into my life so that I can eventually get married? And you did a ton of work on yourself. You kept yourself in good physical shape. You socialized regularly. So you keep your social gears turning and you become a better speaker, better at conceptualizing your thoughts, speaking them out loud, and you heal from your past insecurities and all the negative experiences of other relationships like I had to do so that you can become a better partner in the future. If that was the standard you set for yourself, there's almost no chance you wouldn't eventually find a great significant other in which you would eventually marry. And that would come without all the mental strain and struggle that you put on yourself for having such rigid expectations. You want to accomplish something right now. I know everybody who watches these types of videos is trying to become something that they can detail in the future. Like, I want to become an absolutely jacked dude. I want to become an artist. I want to become a content creator. I just want to be happy, and I don't know how to get there. Expectations, man. Well, what's the standard you want to hold yourself to that will eventually get you there as a natural process of being that person who has those standards for yourself? That's how you build up confidence. That's how you build up strength. That's how you build up a really strong character who is way more flexible too, because life is that unpredictable. And when you have such rigid expectations, you might be a little too attached to that expectation to where you can't pivot if you have to. What would it feel like to just let go of all that? To let go of where you think you need to be at a certain point in the future. And instead just focused on, what am I doing every single day? Am I proud of what am I doing? Am I proud of what I'm doing? Is this a standard I'm proud of? And if it's not, what's the standard I want to set for myself every day? Who's the type of person I want to be? And what does that person do on a daily basis? Are you doing what that person does on a daily basis? Doesn't matter how far you are along in life. No matter what society says, no matter what your brain's telling you, if you are reaching your standards every day, I'm telling you, you've made it. That's the process. And like I say, if you are in the process, you have made it. If you are in the process of continuously showing up for yourself and being the standard that you set for yourself, you are successful. Because not many people in this world can say that. They don't even focus on that shit. They instead just say, well, I'm not successful until I reach this type of lifestyle, this amount of money, this amount of views, this type of job. Let go of that. Let go of such rigid expectations. It's only making you more anxious and frustrated that you're not there yet. Just create a high standard for yourself that you can be every single day. And you will get the things that you used to so heavily attach to, the expectations. Or you might not, but either way, you're going to come out of that process. If you continue that and you continuously bump up your standards, you're going to come out of it way more actualized, way more self-aware, way more emotionally regulated, and you will have a much more fruitful life. This is really all about just asking yourself, who is the type of person I want to be, and then being clear about that, and then working towards that every single day. And something I created a long time ago, which is my Ultimate Self-Mastery course, really has helped a lot of people with that. The whole thing is about not attaching so much to expectations, about creating an identity you can be proud of, and having the accountability from other people in my self-mastery school to actually get you and motivate you to show up for yourself every single day. Because it's hard by yourself, especially at the beginning when you keep breaking promises to yourself. You keep saying you're going to do things and you don't do them. It's really because you don't have a community yet. And that's why I created my self-mastery school. If you want to check that out, as always, it's in the link in the description. So many wins in there happening every week. And it's pretty fucking awesome. I'm excited for this weekend's call in the self-mastery school. And I would love it if you would want to join, because that community has made me create so much progress in my life. And the amount of transformations in there is just insane. And it motivates you to want to do more. So if you're struggling with things like that, breaking promises, losing confidence, being socially anxious, you want to break out of that identity, Self-Mastery School, place to do it. That's in the description, and that's it for this video. I got new pictures, by the way. Studio Ghibli film posters. Pretty cool.